Again, we're trying it again. It's Dr. Shawne live tonight. Our topic is walking with grief. I'm just going to start at the top. I've already had one practice, so I'll go pretty quick, okay? And sorry about the tech difficulties. Probably 5 years ago, it would have been a catastrophe. Now it's like it ain't that freaking deep. Okay, so tech issues. Just come home. So I came home. All right, so now I'm in my home office. Our topic tonight is walking with grief. And you may be watching on our Project Forgive page, you may be watching on our Positive Compassion page, Joy is a Habit, or our Dr. Shawne page. And I just want to flag you because I got a lot of messages last time, because we always give away a prize at the end of the lecture, that people were not being counted in the vote when we actually pick a prize winner because you weren't on the Project Forgive page. So, Project Forgive page if you want to try to win a prize, okay? Otherwise, just hang out, whatever, it's all good. Yes, I'm back. I see you guys. You guys are so patient and kind. I appreciate you. Okay, so for those that don't know me, I'm Dr. Shawne. I am a scholar. I'm a PhD in communication. My expertise is good gossip. I know. Who would have thought there is such a thing? And the reason I love good gossip so much is because it's about critically unpacking how we process stuff. Because when you think gossip, you think mean and nasty. That's not what the research shows at all. Where that mean, nasty stuff is only about 5 to 7%. And that gossip comes from the word God-sib, meaning close to God. I know. Doulas used to deliver babies in the 8th, 9th, and 10th centuries. And they were called God-sibs back then. And the word evolved over time. And I love good gossip because you can really cause miracles with good gossip. And that's even how Project Forgive evolved, was using good gossip theory. So I love unpacking conversations like forgiveness. Forgiveness is my favorite, absolutely, hands down. We have a lot of misnomers, a lot of myths around forgiveness. I hate when people say let go and let God. I'm not anti-God. I'm very much a Jesus girl. That's my personal belief. And at the same time, let go, let God is one of the worst things you can say to somebody who's hurting. It's invalidating. So we bust up and unpack the myths around big ideas like forgiveness that have many meanings to it, and to give you new ways to look at it. And that's what I'm going to do with grief tonight. Walking with grief. That is a new concept for me, something I've been embracing these last 5 months or so. And I just wanted to share that with you in case you're dealing with grief. And I think a lot of the world is dealing with grief. We're non-religious, non-partisan. We embrace whatever your religion is, whatever your philosophy is, whatever your political affiliation is. And actually, I think Project Forgive is needed more than ever because the polarization in politics is so tough. And how can we find ways to disagree with respect? That's a big thing for me. Okay, so walking with grief is our conversation tonight. It stems from the conversation of joy as a habit, because when you're avoiding grief, you're actually in suffering mode, and it's really hard to feel joy when you're suffering. You with me? Oh my gosh, I mean, that very difficult to do. So the way that I thought I'd unpack this tonight and to critically think and look at grief that embodies our heart and our mind is by looking at the conversation of grief through the stages of forgiveness. Now, many researchers and scholars have many stages of grief. Dr. Wayne Dyer, for instance, has 11 stages. And I'm like, as I was doing a lot of research, I'm like, 11 stages is a lot. So I found the best that I thought was easiest to talk about and unpack. And these are the 5 stages that I adhere to. Shock, anger, grief, acceptance, peace / gratitude. Shock, anger, grief, acceptance, peace / gratitude. Because when you do come full circle in really powerful ways, I'm an incest survivor. I believe I've come full circle with acceptance and peace around being molested as a child. Yes, we talk about pretty tough stuff here. And at the same time, I do believe things happen for us, for me, rather than to me. And when I can be in that mindset, really cool things start to happen. So in this journey of walking with grief is the 3rd stage. There's 5. Grief to me is the hardest, because it's hard to know if you're actually grieving, if you're whining, if you're complaining, if you're wallowing, if you're suffering. You know, what really is true grief? And the only way that I can describe it is you know it when you feel it. Like when it's deep, you can feel it in your stomach, especially if it's a big, big conversation. and a big deal to you, and an important one. And it's easier to be angry than it is to feel grief. It's easier to be angry than it is to feel grief. Some people even bypass anger because anger was never tolerated in your family system. Know that as well. And then you just seethe internally and do behaviors that harm you, self-harm, like overeating, drinking too much, smoking, alcohol or workaholism. We know all those isms that we do to avoid going through anger and grief in those stages of forgiveness. I'll say it one more time. Shock, anger, grief, acceptance, peace/gratitude. So let's play in unpacking for a minute so we can have a paradigm shift. Like maybe you already saw a paradigm shift around gossip theory. It really, that mean, nasty stuff is not what gossip is all about. It's actually one of the most profound ways to cause something to go viral, to generate ideas, is because we tell each other about it with emotion and feeling. So the paradigm shift for me, walking with grief, and just so you know, these 5 stages, they're non-linear. You could be angry one day, sad one day, accepting one day, then back to anger. It's a non-linear process, like a roller coaster ride. And embracing that it's a non-linear process also soothes me. And when I look at the paradigm shift or opening a new door, grief, consider that grief is not something to check off on your to-do list. This is what I've been playing in the last 3 years. Those that don't know, my mom, my sister, my dad all died in succession, 3 different types of cancer, just before COVID hit. So then as soon as COVID hit, here I was sitting with all this stuff, all this pain, all this rage, all this guilt that my whole family died, because that's my primary family, and survivor's guilt. I went through so many things. And then I never even really got to grieve my big sister, who was a year older than me, because as soon as she died, I was in heavy duty caretaking of my mom, who was dying. So it was really hard. So my mindset was always like, I need to get through this grief. I need to freaking get through this so I can check it off my to-do list. Then something happened. Don't remember what the moment was. I had an aha. And grief comes up when I talk about it. My aha was around allowing feelings to be there, particularly grief. So I started asking myself some questions. What if grief never goes away? I know that just from seeing this on Project Forgive. Someone's mother died 20 years ago and you still miss her. It still causes grief. You're still sad. You still ache for her, right? So what if there's no ending to grief? It just changes. I like that. What if I allowed the grief to simply be here and to welcome it? What if I allowed it to happen in the moment? And so I've been practicing that. And I don't know when it happened, when I started getting to, it's kind of like a habit, like joy is a habit, like pursuing joy is an actual habit. What if I allowed the grief to be present? And I got one example. So I'm giving my granddaughter Brielle, she's 5, a bath. Okay, she does not like baths. I buy the coolest bath stuff, so she'll love to take a bath, and she's learning about hygiene. You know, right now, little kids that were in the pandemic, they don't have a lot of social skills. So even hygiene is something she's not great at. So come to grandma's, you take a bath, okay? That's the thing. So we're talking about Verna. This is the woman who raised me. And she died when I was 15. And Brielle says, well, what does she look like? And I says, well, as a matter of fact, I have one picture of her. I'll look in just a second. I'll come and see what you guys are saying, okay? Do you have a picture of her? I'm like, yeah. So here's my picture of Verna, okay? This is the only picture I have of her. 7th grade, I took a picture of her on my Instamatic camera that I won in a contest. It's blurry, and this is the only picture I have of Verna. And so I showed her this picture, and I do miss her. She was she was more of a mother to me than my own mother. And she loved me. She adored me. Good and bad to all our relationships. I look back at her. She was, we didn't talk about racism when I was a kid. It just was present. I grew up in Detroit. And when I'd go to sleep, she'd have me pray to Jesus and thank Jesus I wasn't black. I know. Feels good though to say stuff like that because that's how I was raised. And despite all that, despite her good, her bad, her ugly, I loved her because she was really the only person I felt like really loved me. And you can feel the softness when I say it. And when I was telling this to Brielle, who's 5, she said, Grandma, why are you crying? Oh my gosh, are you okay? And what a neat way to teach our next generation and generations after that about grief, that it's okay to be in the moment and allow a willingness of grief to come up in the moment, that it's okay to do that. And so I'm shifting her paradigm at 5, that just because you have a tear come out of your eye doesn't mean something's wrong, that it can actually be filled with joy, it can be filled with a memory, it can be filled with goodness, it can also be filled with pain, of course. And that letting her know by being with her and letting her feel me, many of the empaths hanging out tonight can actually feel the grief in this moment, because I do miss her. And to be able to teach that to my granddaughter. Wow. Okay. The problem with that, or the fear of that I would always feel at these last 5 months as I've been practicing walking with grief. Grief is my friend. I'm going to hang out with you because if I deny that you're there, if I avoid you, that is never going to work, because it's always going to come back and bite me in the butt, because it'll show up in other ways. It'll show up with irritability. It'll show up with snapping at my husband. It'll show up in different ways. And the fear is that the grief will overtake you. Can you guys relate to this? That grief, like if you really let yourself grieve, that you won't be able to get out of bed for a week, or you won't be able to get out of bed for a month. That was my fear. Like, oh my gosh, if I walk with grief. And then the truth is, I had several months where I had a hard time getting out of bed, right? And what if I just allowed this to see what would happen? And the thing that was so funny is it didn't overtake me. I actually felt better. And maybe it meant that being present and grounded in the moment, grief might come up 20 times that day, but for like 15 seconds. My grief of Verna has already passed through. I let it pass through my body. I sat with it. Yeah, sat with it. Here's another example of that, and then I'm going to come into the comments, because I see you guys are saying really, really fun stuff, or good stuff, I should say. I've talked about this. This is my shampoo bottle for my mama. My mother was a hairdresser. And this shampoo just floods me with memories. And I've been avoiding it. I can feel my mom and I miss her as soon as I smell it. And I only have a little bit left. And here, I'll show you. I only have a little bit left. And I'm never going to use this shampoo again. It's in my bathroom so I can smell it and actually get a flood of my mom. You know, we have different smells that bring back good memories, bring up sadness. And instead of like trying to push away the grief that my mom is not here, I welcome it. I'm welcoming it. And I feel really grounded. I'm not a babbling idiot. I don't have, like snot come out of my nose and that I'll never see an end to the crying. It's not like that. It's almost like a Hoover Dam. I think of Hoover's Dam, where the dam blocks up the water. Same thing happens with grief. If we block it all up, it's going to rush out and then it's going to trickle. So when you first start playing the game of walking with grief, you might have some feeling like some big dam busting. It doesn't last. That is a myth. It's not going to last. I absolutely promise. Just notice, I love to do this. There's someone named David Morrison on the live telling you to be his friend. It's one of those scam guys. Just, we're getting really good at banning people that do these really sleazy, be my friend kind of stuff. So if you see any of them in there, let them go. Okay? Just don't even give them any energy. Just let them go. A couple of things I saw. Kathleen, I'm so sorry. That's tough stuff. All right, let's see. I saw something about pain. My pain and fear turns into anger. Jessica, I love that you're saying that. You know, so let's unpack this for a second. It could go both ways, because the stages of forgiveness for the services of this page: shock, anger, grief, acceptance, peace / gratitude. It's non-linear. So what if you feel pain or you feel fear? Fear is actually a form of anger. It's actually a form of anger. What if you just went backwards on those stages that you're doing the nonlinear process, which means the pendulum is swinging? I like to think of a pendulum swinging, that when it's sitting still, that's when you're stuck. When it's actually moving, like if you're going from pain to anger, intense pain, intense anger, intense grief, to intense shock, or whatever it might be, the pendulum swinging is a good sign. That's a really good sign, because you want to get that pendulum swinging so you can start moving, and sometimes gracefully, sometimes not so gracefully, through all those different stages. And it's free flowing like a river. And that's when the real miracles start to happen, when you can allow that grief to come when it comes. Like, you don't stifle a laugh unless you're in church, and you're not allowed to laugh in church, okay? You don't stifle a laugh, you just laugh. And what if we approached grief like, would we stifle grief? No, grief is just another emotion. We have a lot of connotations to the word, and how we perceive it, how we feel about it. That it's negative and positive psychology. Grief is one of the most transformative properties to actually forgive. I'll say that again. Grief is one of the most transformative properties to actually come full circle in forgiveness. So, what I'm noticing, by allowing grief, and I'm not always perfect at it, when I'm allowing it and walking with it, it's getting easier and I'm getting freer. So, here's my tip or tool when I'm wondering if I'm stuffing down grief. I'll say, usually the indication is irritable, angry, or annoyed. Like, I can go there quickly. I did it a couple times while this Facebook Live was going, but I moved through that very quickly. Because it ain't that freaking deep. This is not life and death, okay? So that was able to move through that annoyance. That was not grief. When I'm with a husband or a grandkid and they're really not listening to me. I told you to go put that away. Go throw your garbage away, for goodness sake. I'm not your frickin' slave, right? You know, I go there. As soon as I'm feeling that annoyed or irritation, this is my secret sauce. This is what I've been saying to myself. And even as I say it out loud right now, I can already feel soothed, grounded, and calmed. And my secret sauce is asking myself in my head, is this hidden grief? And I wait for an answer, and I just sit with it for 20 seconds. Is this hidden grief? And I'll know within 20 seconds. At first, it would take me a couple minutes. Now I'm just getting better at it, which is kind of cool. Kind of becoming a habit, just like finding joy is a habit. Walking with grief is a habit. It's a mindset. It's a choice, not a sacrifice. It's a choice, not a sacrifice. And as soon as I say that to myself, I can feel the grief come up. Something I've been really angry about or shocked about or having a lot of pain about is my daughter just recently got divorced. She just had a baby, 6 months old now. Her husband left her, had an affair, found a woman in another country. That woman in another country abandoned her 3 kids. And watching the pain in my grandkids, I want to frickin' kill people. Okay? And how it shows up, though, is me being irritable and non-compassionate with the grandkids. And that's why I've been practicing, because that ain't going to work for me. They're going to have a grandma who's going to be snarky at them when they're going through all this traumatic changes? No. So that's one of the things I do is, okay, is this hidden grief? So I'm hoping that really helps you. Let's see what else you guys are saying. All right, mere annoyance with David Morrison. It's already starting to dissipate. Okay, let's see. Jessica, I'm with you about pushing everyone away. And I want to talk about sleep, too. Grief is an awful feeling. I'm with you, Tishi. You know what I've discovered, though, about grief? I used to think grief, I've interchangeably mixed up grief and suffering. Suffering sucks. That's what sucks. Actual grief, when you're really grieving and it's something you got to feel, you actually feel a little bit better in moments. There's actually a light at the end of the tunnel that you're going to get through it. Suffering is very, very different. There's no end of the tunnel. It's repetitive behaviors, repetitive thinking. I could go on and on and on and on. Okay? Beautiful. Aw, thank you, Mary. That what a beautiful thing. Okay, just let's see. They used to. I'm just reading what you're saying, Nadine. Just checking really quick. First timers, great. I'm so happy the first timers are here. Yep. Looking at this, looking at this. You're so welcome, Laura. You might be a Laura Lee. Just thanking you for being real. Okay. Walking with grief. It's a practice. Just like, oh, Donna, thank you for that. I'll make sure my office knows about closed captioning, okay? My apologies. Yeah. So, one other thing. It's actually going to be one of the prizes tonight. I'm a big fan of essential oils. It's one of the reasons why we sell one. We have a forgiveness essential oil that's pure extract. It's like the best of the best. I've bought crappy ones. I've bought really good ones that I paid $90 for. And so that's one of the reasons why we created essential oil and essential oil. Essential oils soothe me. It also actually reminds me to ask myself, is this hidden grief? So any essential oils, even if you get it yours on eBay or you get it on Amazon, you get something, just even something that has a scent for a little bit, essential oils are very, very soothing. Okay? All right, someone's about to win. You have to be on the Project Forgive page because I'm going to tell you how to win and what you're going to win. You're going to win one of our forgiveness essential oils. It actually is a great blend. And I can't, off the top of my head, I didn't write down what all the ingredients are. I know there's lavender in there. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it in, when I'm done with the live. But it's pure therapeutic oil. So someone's about to win this. You're going to get a little package. You're going to get one of my favorite pens. I'm a pen snob. Anybody else a pen snob? Here's this pen. You get a Dr. Shawne pen. It's exquisite. You won't find a pen like this. I love this pen. It writes so good. The way that you use it. I am a pen snob. I want to work with really, really good pens. And so you get a Dr. Shawne pen. You're also going to get a mask. And please don't politicize it. We have Kindness is Contagious masks. And the reason that I'm so pro-mask is because of a conversation I had with a woman of Asian descent. She was not American. And she saw me wearing a mask, Kindness is Contagious. And she said, I love that that's what that says because in my country, we wear masks prior to COVID. We wore them as a kindness. I don't wear them for me. I wear them for people that are immunocompromised. The bonus is you rarely get sick because you're not spreading germs or receiving germs. And I'm handled. I don't even need to wear a mask, and I still wear a mask because of what that woman said to me about that it's an act of compassion and kindness. So you're going to get a mask. If you don't wear masks and it's a big deal to you, no big shake, you don't have to keep it. Got it? All right. So here, you're about to win, and this is how you're going to win. And it's not fair, okay? I'll just tell you right now, it's not fair. I'm going to tell you when to go. You're going to put hearts in the comments. Last week we did number 11. This time we're going to do lucky number 13. When I say go, I'm going to count it off, put hearts in the comments, and the 13th heart on my feed, not anyone else's. That's where the unfairness comes in. So I'm stalling for a second so you can come on the Project Forgive page because I can only see the hearts on the Project Forgive page. So if you're on Positive Compassion or you're in Joy is a Habit Facebook group or you're on Dr. Shawne page, you have to come on over to Project Forgive to actually win a prize. The other caveat is you have to be in the United States. Shipping is very expensive. It just is. And it's astronomical to go out of the country. So we give prizes only in the United States. So just know that I love you. Okay. You can still buy stuff on our website with international shipping and it'll tell you what that stuff is. Okay. What those prices are. So someone's about to win. I'm going to tell you to go and you're going to start putting hearts in the comments. Please know this is not endorsed by Facebook. That's one of the caveats that I read in Facebook's rules. that this isn't endorsed by Facebook, and you don't have to buy anything to win this prize, okay? All right, so when I say go, hearts in the comment section. As soon as the hearts start coming in, I'm going to start counting them off, and number 13 is going to be the winner. So all you have to do is put a heart in the comment. The prize I'm giving away tonight is essential oil, a pen, and a mask. That's the gift. And the essential oil is $17 if you had to buy it. Okay? We're finishing up a lecture. And it's not putting hearts. You got to actually put them in the comments. So you got to put in a comment and hit enter. Put in a comment and hit enter, because it's hard to see who's sending the hearts flying. Right. Christy or Crystal, number 1. We're going up to number 13, and you can play many times. Laura, Lulu is number 2. Misty Lane, number 3. Debbie's number 4. Kathleen is number 5. Donna's number 6. Tishy's number 7. Tishy is number 7. We're almost there. Ana Marie is number 8. Ana Rodriguez. I'll say it. Ana Rodriguez Flores. Estoy aprendiendo español is number 10. Tishy's number 11. Terry, it's you. 12, I'm sorry. Terry Ottaway is number 13. Terry Ottaway. Forgive for my misspeaking. Terry Ottaway, you are the winner. Here's how you claim your prize. You can message us here on Project Forgive. Only me and Hailey will ever see your information. We never sell anything. We need your address, your mailing address, and your email so that you can keep track of the tracking when the package is shipped to you. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can email me, Dr. Shawne at projectforgive.com, Dr. Shawne at projectforgive.com, and that's Dr. Shawne with an E on it. So either way, you can either message us here, you can email me. As soon as you email me, we'll get it out in the mail tomorrow, okay? All right, so just so you know, we meet every Sunday, 6:30. This was a little longer because of the tech issues, and lectures are usually a little bit longer. Just focusing on joy as a habit every Sunday night, 10, 15 minutes. Fast tips to keep joy in your life. Be sure to join our Joy as a Habit Facebook group. Next lecture is 1 month away. I'm going to be doing lectures once a month now. That feels good to me. And that's Sunday, September 25th. I will put it as an event on Facebook. So it'll just be here on the Project Forgive page. The topic is going to be living with anxiety. The topic is living with anxiety. We're going to unpack it. There's so many gray areas to anxiety, whether you're diagnosed with anxiety or you feel anxious. What are all those pieces, and what are some things you can do to help alleviate anxiety, and being able to name it, call it what it is, and take really, really good care of yourself with anxiety, okay? Oh, Kathleen, I will say about sleep. How's this? Here's what I'm going to say about sleep. The last 3 weeks, I've been struggling with sleep. Me and my husband made a pact, I don't know if you have a partner, that sometimes I need to go lay on the couch, because codependency is something that I struggle with, right? And I have a hard time, especially when I'm feeling anxious, going to sleep, worrying about other things, especially my husband laying next to me. So we made a pact that I'm going to go out on the couch. I'm not abandoning him or leaving him. I love him. And it gives me some freedom to lay there and breathe. I use several apps. I love the Calm app. And one of the things that's helped me the most with sleep, because sometimes I really struggle with sleep, is the mantra of forgiving myself because I'm struggling with sleep. And for some reason, that soothes me. Forgiving myself for not being able to sleep, like I have some control over it in the moment, you know? And so sometimes when I'm laying there and I'm really struggling, I'm like, wow, can you forgive yourself for not being able to sleep? That actually brings up grief. And usually what's stopping me from sleep is new grief that's arrived, especially with things going on with grandkids and the divorce with my daughter. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the family system right now, right? I'm hoping that helps, okay? All right, big love, big hugs. And you can, just so you know, the sleep stuff, you can also private message me and I'll send you a couple other ideas too, okay? So I'll see you next Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Next lecture, Living with Anxiety, on September 25th. And Terry, make sure you flag us. Make sure you flag us, okay, for your address. I hear you, Kathleen. Sometimes I cry myself to sleep too. And this is a very common time right now. There's a lot going on in the world, especially if you're very empathic. Okay? All right. Big love, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.